Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Michael Van Gerwen's official YouTube channel. We've got some exclusive access with him on a rare down day during a tournament, which doesn't happen very often. Michael, does it? Days off in tournaments?
No, it doesn't really happen really often. But it's good to have a day off, especially in a busy tournament like this. And with the tournaments coming up and everything, and of course this tournament, it's tough, but it's really nice. I'm in a good situation at the moment.
We're going to take you away from darts temporarily. We're going to go right back to where things started and when you realised you were better than everyone else and things like that. But on stage, you come across very confident, very sure of yourself. Is that the real Michael Van Gerwen away from the stage, or are you quite a shy, quiet man at home?
No, I'm quite a confident person, but that all goes. I wasn't when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I wasn't really confident because I've been bullied a lot when I was younger, and things like that happens, unfortunately, especially in 2019 and previous. It's been terrible. Also, when you read the newspapers, things like that, it's really sad to see, because I've noticed it and I've been there, so you know what it is for kids who are being bullied. So I didn't have confidence there. So, but when you then find something where you're good at, you get confidence, and when you're doing well and you come home with a trophy and you win some money, that really helps your confidence. That gives you an enormous boost.
Again, just talking about the bullying side, especially it's worse in this day and age because of social media as well. Back when obviously you were growing up, social media wasn't there, was it? It's quite a relatively new thing.
Exactly, it's something from the last few years. If you sometimes heard the stories about children, about, doesn't matter if it's the race, if they overweighted, downweight, doesn't matter. In any sort of it, it's been terrible. But unfortunately that's something where you nearly can't walk around with anymore, because it's there. Social people hide them behind the computers, the phones, and it's difficult. But what can you do against it? I think it's not to the people. I think it's the higher up have to deal with that.
When you switch off away from darts and you go home, you just become Michael, not the big green machine that we all know. Big family man, as we've seen from Instagram. Love time with the family.
Big family, I don't want to, it's a big word, but I love my family and I love what I do. And of course, the combination between home and darts, that has to be phenomenal. Otherwise, you can't do the things what I show on stage at the moment. And of course, it's hard sometimes because I'm away a lot of times. And of course, I miss my wife. But the other side, I also sometimes I made it easy for myself, so because I'm so used to it, being away, and the family as well, it makes it so easy for myself. Then they never give me any grief and things like that. So that's the main key. Everything has to run smoothly.
Does Zoe watch you on TV and go, "There's Daddy"?
Yes, she starts to recognise it now, especially with the green shirt, and then she imitates me when I scream or something, things like that. But that's good, and that's why you want to pass on to all the other youth as well, not only to my own daughter, but to everyone in the world.
How do you relax away from darts? What do you like to do at home? Is it chill time, or have you got activities that you like to do away?
When I'm at home, I'm busy around the house most of the time, but also, of course, I've got hobbies. Sometimes I play cards with my friends and things like that. And of course, sometimes go to my parents and definitely prepare for a coffee, for a meal, things like that. I'm always busy. I always like to do something. My wife always tells me I can't sit still. Wherever I'm home, I always have to do something. And that's maybe, that's also my personal, that's how I am. And that's people around me also know exactly how I always, because it's not for me to sit still all day on the chair. It's really tough, really tough. I can't do that. And to actually then, sometimes you have to do when the missus wants to relax, or she always says, "Can you just sit on your chair for an hour?" I'm always thinking what I'm going to do next, but that's for the rest. Everything is fine, and I think that's the magic key behind my performances and things like that.
The most recognisable face in darts on the TV, watched by millions, but then when you go home, it's just that family environment. Is that tough to separate though sometimes? Like, are you thinking about the next tournament and what you're going to have to do to prepare for that?
I'm an easy thinker. I don't think about mistakes, things like that. Of course, sometimes when I had, like a few months ago, I had a little bit bad period, and I spoke a lot with Vincent as well, and I said to myself, hey, and said to each other as well, hey, what can I do to make it better? And we spoke about how you can progress, not how rubbish the tournament was. No, you need to look forward and make sure you do better next time. Don't make the same mistakes and things like that. And I think it worked out quite well. And of course, when you're home, then you also speak about results with people around you. Of course, also with my wife and things like that. But when I'm at home, I like to be at home. And of course, with my busy schedule, it's not always easy to have so many days at home because there's always going on something. If it's not tournaments or traveling, it's media commitments, sponsor commitments, or whatever happens.
We've seen, especially over here, that you can't walk down the street without being recognised. Everyone in the darting world and the majority of the sporting world now knows who Michael van Gerwen is. When you're back home in Holland, can you just walk to the shop and just be normal Michael?
Because I go to the supermarket as well, and they say, why are you at the supermarket? So, I have to eat as well. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm just a normal person, and I do supermarket stuff, and I'm not going to hide myself, because I know I'm a well-known person, but it's in my hometown, most of the people know me and seen me before, so it makes it a little bit easier, but always the people on the street like to make a nice comment because they think they're quite funny, or I never heard it before, so I'll start laughing because, what else can I do?
I'm guessing that's easier in Holland as well, because I've seen it, what it's like over here when you've been over here for a bit, is that literally you can't walk to the coffee shop, can you, without getting mobbed in the UK?
Yeah, it is getting, but everything has to do with television. You know, how more television time you get, how more recognition you get globally, and of course it's a good thing that you get recognized, because that means you're playing well on television, and otherwise if you're not on television you don't get recognized. That's how it works. So on one side it's nice, but the other side, you just have to carry on with it.
Back when you were younger, growing up, can you remember the first time you suddenly realised that you were good at this sport and better than the rest of the people around your sort of age group?
I used to practice when I was younger with guys around my age, kids around my age, and I won always the most games. So I thought, there's more to get here. And then the first tournament I play, I become third in the tournament, so I come home with a trophy, and that's something what's really important. And because you can show your mom, dad, grandmom, granddad, and everything, and they are proud of you. Do you know what I mean? Because I keep something alive. When I was doing the football, and my dad was standing on the sideline, it was more like, oh my God, is this my son? Yeah, that's what me, because I'm absolutely crap at it. But things like that happens as well. You don't have talent and everything, but I'm really glad I found my talent, and that's that.
Again, was it tough in the beginning trying to break through and become a professional dart player?
Yes, because you learn a lot. You learn how to deal with losers. That's not easy, because you have to get over it, but that makes you stronger on the end run, I hope. Because someone always tells me it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and I like to play for a longer time, and I want to be good every year.
When you were working and playing darts, was that a tough juggling act between the two?
When I stopped school and went as a professional dart player, I was only 16 years old, and of course I did really well there. I was living at home and things like that. But after that, when I wasn't doing that well, and I still had the same living standard, I thought, I have to do something extra if I want to keep this standard. And so I decided to work 2 days a week or 3 days a week with my friend Harold. And that went out well. He said, but promise me one thing, as soon as you're doing better again, I kick you out of the job straight away and you're going back on the circuit. So that's exactly what happened. And after the Grand Prix, I didn't work a day anymore.
Just before the Grand Prix, you touched on that. The match play, Steve Beaton, the 9-darter, something that most darts fans can remember. Was that sort of the moment that it was almost like a light switch moment where you arrived at the very top level? I
love people think that, but I think for myself, probably one of the most important ones, even if it was a losing game, was the World Championship against Simon Whitlock. I was 3-0 down. It was the year that he reached the final, and I come back to 3-0 and I lost just that game. And then I thought, hey, I got that fighting spirit inside me, a little bit more practice and work to do, and I can actually a lot more. And then of course, the match break come along against Beaton. I had a phenomenal game against him with a 9-darter, and from there it started rolling.
Again, just going back, obviously, child phenomenon in sport. Everyone knew the name Michael van Gerwen from a young age, and then it didn't quite happen. Was that extra pressure because everyone knew you from such a young age, where players come through under the radar a little bit and just burst onto the scene, but everyone knew who you were from a very young age?
Yeah, well, I was 14 years old, and I was winning men tournaments, 14, 15 years old. I was winning Norwegian Open, Ireland, Northern Ireland Open, things like that. And then of course the expectation on your shoulder is sky high. And at that moment, if you was looking in the BDO at that moment, there was loads of phenomenal players still playing there. And most of them crossed over now as well. But same as myself to the PDC, where all the big boys were, the Phill Taylor, Raymond van Barneveld, and all them. So it was a massive switch for me. But I think it worked out well on the end, of course. But it's only a dream at that moment, and did it become reality? I didn't know it was this quick.
Talked about the switch. Obviously, a lot's been made when people moved from the BDO to the PDC. Was it something you had to think about long and hard, or was it quite an easy decision for you?
To be fair, for us was in a deal within a tournament, within the Master of Darts. So if we want to play in that, we have to be members. So for us, it wasn't really a headache. It was easy choose for me to go to PDC. And if you want to be the best one in the world, you have to compete with the best. And where was Phill Taylor at that moment? PDC.
Okay, 2014, the breakthrough, the first world title in the collection.
Yeah.
When you went home to your friends and family, what was that like going home as a world champion?
Yeah, that was amazing because, of course, I had a chance against Phill as well. I think it was the year before.
Yeah,
year before when I became runner-up, and I learned so much of that game against him that I think, hey, I have to turn around now and use it in my favor instead of making mistakes again, like I did against Phill. And I think I did. Played a phenomenal tournament and won the trophy.
Okay, we're talking like the press and the media that you get now. When they start writing you off and questioning you, do you actually enjoy proving them wrong?
Of course I do. That's something I really like. But that's high trees, and Holland's are saying high trees take a lot of wind, and you have to keep performing well. And I got a massive target on my back, and I know that for a fact. And I just need to make sure I keep performing because I know that people, if you don't do well, they straight away have an opinion. That's the same way you talk in Holland about football. We have 16 million coaches in Holland about with the football. You know, everyone has his own thing, and they always have their opinion, and that's also with me. And things like that happens, and I don't really care about it, to be fair.
Do you actually listen to the stick you get on social media from the pundits or not? Or do you just
No, do I? I know you're reading it, but sometimes I heard something. But most of the time, it's positive. But to be fair, it's you got haters, you got lovers. Things like that happen in sports. That happens in any sport. But you need to look at the bright side. And when you're doing well, a lot of people want you to fail, and that's how it works.
Again, something that you touched on, learning from the defeat from Phill in that final. Yeah. Was that a big learning curve? Because it was a game you probably should have won, if we're being honest.
Yeah, I probably should have won that game, and of course, and forgive me for that, because I think that was also the only moment I could show everyone in the world I could beat him in a World Championship final. I never had a chance afterwards, so I'm a bit gutted about that, yes, but to be fair, what Phill did for the sports and everything, it's been phenomenal, and we can be proud of them.
When you were chasing Phill, as he was your big rival back then, when did you know you were close to him and getting under his skin?
The World Championship final, because after that I think I was more dominant than him. After the final, I straight away beat him in the Premier League final with a phenomenal finish to the 1-3-2 finish to beat him, and from there on I won most of my games against him, and of course always great battles, but then you could also see he was getting a bit older, still playing well, and he still does play well at this stage, but you have to prove yourself if you want to Phill Taylor, because in his mind, he is so strong, and his mental aspect is so much in front of most of the players that you have to use that against him if you want to beat him. And I managed to do that. Not many players did.
We know you love a good rivalry, and you've had some great ones over the years. At the start of this year, you haven't really had one for the first time in a long time in darts. No one's really pushed you to your limit constantly. Is that maybe...
Also with Gary, of course, has back problem, and that didn't help. And I also didn't play my A game, and so you cannot play well year after year. It's so difficult to be dominant. I think I'm still quite dominant in some way, but at the beginning of the first 6 months of the year, I think my average was a bit low, and that could be better.
Again, do you think that was because there was no one pushing you constantly?
Maybe,
people had good games here and there, but there was no one constantly on your back going, I want to beat you.
Yeah, it could be, but it's always easy to say that afterwards. You need to, well, I also said earlier, you need to look in front of you and look how you can make things better, yourself better, and you won't make the mistakes again, because you still have to win the tournament. You can still not make a mistake, and of course I did a few times, but yeah, things like that happens, unfortunately.
That's really interesting to listen to you talk about that, about how you improve. So you've set the bar so high, it's unreal. So how do you improve, and how do you get better from the standard you already are?
I love the game. People probably don't know, but I love performing on stage. I love, even if the crowd's with me, against me, I don't mind. I love to perform and try to show everyone what I can. And that's something what's probably helping me a lot. And of course, with my confidence of all my winning games in the last 6, 7, 8 years, that created a mental strength above all the other players.
Just going back to your record average in Aberdeen, if you'd have hit the double 18 that first attempt, the average would have been, I think, roughly about 137. Surely not even you would be able to beat that, would you?
No, but I still got the televised record anyway.
Yeah.
No, Peter White, there was a little thing with Peter White, because he did well on the Pro Tour. Yeah. He had a phenomenal average, but I don't count that as a televised performance, in my opinion. Never had count, why would he count that, you know what I mean? But he's still a phenomenal player, but he has to show it on the stage, on the big stage. Michael,
it's an absolute pleasure taking time out to chat with you here. Really intriguing, and I just like the way your mind works, about always trying to improve and not sitting around.
Yeah, you have to improve, because if you give all the players a finger that take your hand, then I don't want to give them anything. I want to play well and try to give my family a good future, and myself.
Michael, absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.